What is going on, traders? We got a lot to talk about. It's going to be an absolutely crazy week. We're going to talk about Apple. We're going to talk about NVDA. And then I'm going to give you guys a stock that I think is going to go absolutely ballistic towards the upside. Before we start, like, subscribe, comment your thoughts below. Let's get into the video. So right now we are looking at the SPY and things are going according to plan. We are getting that bounce that we expected back towards the upside. Now, I still urge to be cautious, just like I said in the last video, within this range. Why? Because Jerome Powell originally sold off the market, and every time we hit this area, the SPY sold off. We sold off here, we sold off here, and then ironic enough, we got that deep seek data right here, and then we saw the market pretty much gap down, have somewhat of a flash crash, give or take. And so it's very important that we be cautious within this area. Now, we do have news tomorrow. At 2 p.m. Eastern, we have federal funds rate and then FOMC statement. And then 2:30 Eastern, we have FOMC press conference. So it's very important to be cautious trading within this range. Now, your key levels here is 604. Right now, we're above 604. So it's safe to say that we're going to head towards 605 psych level. Really not much there. But if we get above 605, then obviously we're going to fill this gap at around 607, 609, give or take. And then in order to hit new highs, obviously we will need to get above 610 psych level. And then from there, we're looking at a move towards around 614, 616. And then we'll have to see what happens from there. Now, if we're talking about downside, 598 is still your key level. As long as we stay above 598, I think we're safe. We broke below 598 yesterday. We had it as low as 594. So I would say that 593 is your ultimate level to hold. Now, you go to the daily time frame here, and it's important to note that you still have this gap at 584. All right. Now, I'm not saying, lock in on that gap or, panic in regards to that gap, but it's just something to keep in mind. And we can very much see some type of sell off within this range towards this gap fill. So it's very much possible. As long as we're in this range, I'm not comfortable in regards to upside, but I'm also not too comfortable in regards to downside. We'll have to wait and see what happens tomorrow. Now, what I will say, and this is just my personal belief, I think the market only cares about earnings. All right. FOMC is great. Finding out if we got rate cuts or not is going to be great as well. But I think big tech is going to be the ultimate decider on whether we pump higher or we head back towards the downside. Tomorrow we have a lot of earnings after hours. We got Meta, we got Microsoft. I believe we got Tesla as well. Don't quote me on that. And then Thursday we got the big dog. We got Apple. All right, Apple earnings is going to be it's going to be major. All right, I'm not expecting too much from Apple. We'll talk about that in a bit. And so we look at the triple Qs. Triple Qs, 518. We finally got above 518. We're above 520. Your key level here is 522. You get above 522, chances are you're heading towards 525. After that, you're looking at a move towards 529. You break above 529. I would say 530, your psych level. You're going to head towards 533, 534, give or take. And then you really want to break above these guys right here, right? Let's actually zoom in so you guys get a better idea of what I'm talking about here. Right here, okay? A lot of bears in this area, a lot of structure here. I guess you can call it a double top. That's completely fine. I understand why someone would refer to this as a double top. But yeah, you really want to be careful once you head back towards this area. If we head back towards this area, triple Qs could very much see a sell off. And again, you're right at that Jerome Powell range, all right, where he originally sold off the market, right here at around 535, 537, give or take. So you really want to be careful here heading into tomorrow. Bears are extremely present here. I imagine they are foaming at the mouth. They're waiting on any type of bad news to come in, and tomorrow would be the day that we get that bad news. Now, I'm not guaranteeing bad news or anything. I'm just saying it's very much possible. So I want to make that clear. All right. So that's what we're looking at for the triple Qs in regards to upside, downside, 515. As long as you stay above 515, you're fine. If you break below 510, it gets scary. But if you break below these bullish wicks right here, all right, let's zoom in. This bullish wick right here, you break below these guys all the way towards 503, chances are you are heading towards that gap fill on a daily time frame at 492. We'll talk about that in the future once we get close to that point, if we get close to that point, all right? Because not all gaps are guaranteed to get filled, but more than likely we're going to fill at least one or two of these gaps towards the downside. We'll see. All right, so that's what I'm looking at for the triple Qs. All right, so let's talk about NVIDIA. All right, so in the last video, I told you guys, right? I let you guys know. I let you guys know that NVIDIA was at the bottom of this rising wedge pattern and is going to possibly bounce, right? Looking really, really good, right? And so in the Discord, not only did we get an alert, but on quant data, we got an alert as well that whales are loading up 138 calls for February 21st. So if you want access to this information, Discord link will be in the description below. If you want access to this information on your own without a community, without a Discord, then quant data link will be in the description below. But right here, you see it. NVIDIA, February 21st, 138 calls, and then 119 calls as well for February 21st with a 24 million premium, guys. 24 million premium. And then your 138 calls had a 4.95 million premium. Of course, we jumped into this play in the Discord. I think this is a good sign for ASML earnings in the morning. So we could see NVIDIA definitely continue to head higher. So, I mean, this is insane. Absolutely insane. And almost immediately after we got this alert, I would say 10 minutes after we got this alert that whales were loading up on these calls, NVIDIA started to take off. Like almost immediately. All right. And both of these are above the ask. So this is crazy. All right. So I definitely think NVIDIA is going to head higher. I think that goes without saying. And it lines up. I mean, you look at NVIDIA daily chart and you have a gap all the way towards 142. So it makes perfect sense when you're looking at these 138 calls that whales have put in. I mean, do the math. You have a gap right here, right? So let's mark this out. You have a gap all the way at 142. I would go as far as to say it's probably two gaps in this area. Don't quote me on that, but still, you have a gap at around 142. You have this piercing line pattern as well. I would go as far as to say this is a hammer pattern, a reversal hammer pattern on the daily time frame. But not only that, you go down to the hourly time frame, and I mean, look what you got here. You got this beautiful double bottom pattern, clean, super clean, guys. You got a bottom here, another bottom here, and then your neckline would be right about here. You broke the neckline, so I imagine that if Nvidia does get some type of small dip, it's going to simply retest this neckline at 125 before heading higher. Now ASML earnings is in the morning, so I do imagine that's going to have a say on whether Nvidia has higher or not, but things are looking good. Now when you're talking about the projected move of this double bottom, all you do is measure the from the neckline to the bottom of the bottoms, I guess, for lack of better wording, and then you drag that measurement to the breaking point or the neckline, to the top of the neckline, and you have a projected move towards 135. Ironic enough, that's right before the gap fill. So you can start seeing a move towards 135, if not higher, towards 142. So everything is aligning with what we see on quant data. This is a powerful tool. I absolutely love this tool. Discord members love this tool as well. You got to check it out, guys. If not for yourself, you can join the community. It's much cheaper if you join the community because I provide this information myself. Not only that, but we have bots that provide this type of information as well. But these 138 calls, whales are absolutely eating, especially off these 119 calls. That 24 million premium above the ask, I mean, insane. So I definitely expect Nvidia to pump higher, especially if ASML earnings comes in good. We'll have to wait and see. And so that leads me to Apple. Apple looks absolutely beautiful, guys. We got to talk about Apple. I've been talking about Apple for quite some time here. I let you guys know that heading into earnings, Apple historically pumps, right? And I let you guys know that we are in calls in Apple. I think I told you guys that. I might probably haven't, but we were in 138 calls for Apple. We rolled over our calls from last week at around the low 220s. So Apple absolutely went insane today. We took profit on those calls, so congratulations to Discord members. Apple looks beautiful, right? And historically, once again, I don't know where everything went, but historically, Apple pumps into its earnings. Now, I'm not optimistic for Apple's earnings because, again, like I've been saying in the last few videos, Apple just doesn't do anything. It's not innovative. It doesn't do anything new for its consumers. It's lacking in as far as AI goes. I mean, I guess Siri or whatever, but other than that, it's just not doing anything to keep up with stocks like Nvidia or Meta or any of these stocks that are related to AI. Apple is just not keeping up. It's just stagnant, right? Now, what I will say is that Apple is at strong not support, resistance here, right? So we want to be careful here. It did break a little bit above. Right now, it's at this trend. I do think Apple is going to head a little bit higher. We could see a move all the way towards about 240. You have a very illiquid area at 240, between 240 and 250. So yeah, you have a fair value gap here, and then you have another fair value gap at around, I want to say yeah, between 246 and 250 that need to be mitigated. So yeah, Apple eventually probably most likely will start mitigating these fair value gaps before seeing more downside. If it does see downside from here, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, again, it's just not doing anything. Not only that, but when you're seeing Nvidia pumping, I do imagine that Apple is going to have a bad reaction to that. And the reason why is that we historically we always see Apple pump or an Nvidia dump or vice versa, right? And we're seeing this rotation between semiconductors and Apple, right? Where investors are treating Apple like some type of safe haven, right? So it makes sense that Apple could see some type of rejection from here. It's very much possible. Don't run with that. But if we do see a rejection from here, I absolutely wouldn't be surprised. You shouldn't be surprised as well. And so the only way I think Apple could be earnings, all right? If I'm being honest, the only way I think Apple could be earnings is one, they just introduce something insane, okay, insane, but a share buyback. That's about it. That's all I got for Apple in regards to beating earnings. I mean, could they whip out something new all over your face? Sure, but other than that, that's all I got for Apple. I don't think it's going to beat unless they do a share buyback, and that's about it. And the highest I'm looking at right now is maybe towards 255, 250 range. So we'll have to see. All right, if Apple pumps to 250 prior to its earnings, then you might want to, pack your bags and get ready. Now, one can argue that we could be start forming a head and shoulders pattern here on Apple. So you got your shoulder here, and then you have a head here as well, and then you would have another shoulder, assuming that we get some type of bearish move back towards the downside. You have another shoulder here, and not only that, but you're very illiquid back towards the downside. So there are fair value gaps. There's multiple fair value gaps within this area. So Apple could very much sell off from here if we start forming some type of head and shoulders pattern, and then you have your neckline right about there. All right, so something to look out for. The shoulder's not yet confirmed, so you just want to be careful when it comes to trading Apple. We took profit, so congratulations to Discord members. Absolutely insane day. And so we got to talk about the VIX. All right, we got to talk about the VIX. So in the last video, we talked about the VIX filling that gap, right? All the way towards about 15, I want to say. Give or take, we'll check it out right now. Yeah, so we still got some ways to go. We got this reversal pattern here. We called this out in the last video that there is a reversal pattern here on the VIX. So it's pretty much a no-brainer that the market was going to, pretty much recover today. But once the VIX fills this gap all the way at 15, 15.5, 15.6, give or take, I would be very much careful, guys. Be careful in this area because the VIX can very, very much bounce from this area. What do we know about gaps? They have very strong support and resistance. So you really want to be careful here. And like I've been saying, the market has a history of pumping into these type of events. Again, tomorrow we have FOMC, right? The market always tends to pump into these events, and then Thursday we typically see some type of sell-off. Now, we do have earnings after hours, and that could play a part in things and possibly, continue the market pump. But we really want to be careful here. So definitely keep the VIX on your radar, guys. I still think the VIX is going to head towards 28. It's just a matter of when. My best guess is towards February or in February. All right. So something you want to look out for. And so a stock that we have traded in the Discord that's besides Apple and Nvidia, of course, we definitely got calls and no's. Baba. Uh, So we did 100 calls for Baba in the Discord. We did 100 calls for March 31st. Baba took off. We got in at around $89, give or take. And right now we are up 200% per contract, $350 profit per contract. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing to see. I do think Baba is going to head towards this gap fill at minimum towards 99. Highest I'm looking at is around 104. So you definitely want to pay attention to Baba. I mean, Baba is overdue. Okay, Baba is long overdue. I do think it's going to continue to see more upside within the long term. So you definitely want to pay attention to Baba. Once it hits about 100, I would say 105 max. I do expect some type of pullback, and I will look for another entry at around the $90 mark. So definitely pay attention to Baba. Again, we're still holding those calls for March. Beautiful, beautiful play. We're not even at 100 yet, and already up 200% on these contracts. So, yeah, if you want access to these types of trades, Discord link is in the description below. All right, so that's pretty much all I have for this video, guys. We can look at other stocks like someone said Oracle. I didn't plot Oracle, so I don't know what I'm about to look at, but I imagine this thing is like through the roof right now. Oracle. All right. Yeah, I can't see. My room is dark and I couldn't see the keyboard. So here we go. What am I typing? All right, here we go. Oracle. Yeah, what are you guys? What do you guys got me looking at here? Oh, good Lord. I wouldn't even touch this thing. This is just insane. I wouldn't touch this thing. So right now, I would say this much. Oracle is at support. All right, it's not at support. It kind of like did this little gap up thing, but Oracle is at support. But it's in between two gaps right now. I imagine that it's not going to do much until we get news. It's probably going to just trade within this range, if anything. Obviously, if the market, sells off or goes higher, then obviously Oracle will follow. But yeah, I just don't see anything interesting in regards to Oracle. Let's go to the 4 hour, make sure I'm not missing anything. I would say you are a liquid up here. You're right below a fair value gap. You actually broke below this fair value gap. So it's more likely that Oracle breaks further down. You want to watch for 152. 152, I would say 150 psych level before Oracle gets into this very liquid area, heading all the way towards 140s. All right, so something to look out for. Like I tell you guys, anytime a stock breaks below or above a fair value gap, chances are it's going to continue in that direction. So yeah, you definitely want to be careful trading this thing to the upside, especially considering where it's at. But yeah, this is a hideous chart. I don't even know. I don't even know what you guys got me looking at here. Hopefully you got puts up here. I mean, bears were clearly present in this area. I mean, bears were very much present in this area. So hopefully you got puts up here and you made some bread right there. But other than that, I don't have much for Oracle. It looks like it wants to break back towards the downside. It could head a little bit higher, maybe mitigate this fair value gap here, possibly tease this gap at 180 before heading much lower. So definitely want to pay attention to that in regards to downside. Let's talk about Meta. So Meta, we go to the daily time frame here. Meta has a little more room to the upside. I will say that much. You're looking at the daily time frame. You got this rising wedge pattern. I think Meta could start seeing a move towards 695. It does have earnings after hours tomorrow. 695, 700 is very much possible before we see some type of rollover effect. Meta is just extremely overextended. It's been pumping nonstop. I mean, look at this. Look at this. This has just been pumping like crazy. So it can very much hit this trend right here before seeing some type of sell-off rollover effect back into this pattern. Whales are loading up 550 puts for February 21st. Check it out yourself. Do your due diligence. Don't take my word for it. So yeah, if Meta does continue to pump higher, I do imagine it's going to hit 700 and then possibly start seeing some type of sell-off from there. Again, it has earnings after hours tomorrow, so something to pay attention to. Amazon. Amazon, right at the top of its rising wedge pattern. You definitely want to be careful here. Um, yeah, that's really all I have. Amazon has earnings next week, I believe. Yeah, so it's next Thursday. All right. I don't know why I kept thinking it was this Thursday, but simple mistake there. But yeah, Amazon right at the top of its rising wedge. Like I said in the last video, I wouldn't be surprised it tries to, head higher and possibly start rolling over. But right now it's rejecting the top of this rising wedge pattern. I want to see a bearish candle from this point to get more confirmation here. You're not getting a massive bearish candle. It's still above 236. It breaks below 236. I would go as far as to say 235. Chances are Amazon is cooked at that point. I do think Amazon is going to head lower towards the 200s, but by the end of this year, I do think Amazon is going to be in the 300s. We'll talk about that in the future, but that's all I have for this video. Hopefully, you guys got something out of it. Let me know if you agree, disagree, whatever your take is. Let me know. Just keep it respectful as always. Discord link is in the description below. You guys have been joining like crazy. It's been absolutely insane. So I hope to provide value. Other than that, that's all I have, traders. Until the next video, have a good one.